In a dismal future, a blazing neon light from the past cuts a pathway toward tomorrow. Bounding into comics and Brett R. Smith present Escape from the Future.
Welcome to Escape from the Future. I'm your host and comic veteran, Brett R. Smith, and joining me today is Paul Thayer. Paul is an independent comic book creator and writer of the graphic novel Project Naosis. Did I say that right? Project Naosis?
I call it Project Naosis.
Naosis, okay. And also, you are the publisher of Visual Vibration. Mm-hmm. Project Naosis is currently available on Indiegogo and is a 120-page trade paperback. Paul, thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to talk about the books. And
yeah. You know, you and I, just to give some background, I caught your book on X the other day in a thread with Eric July, and I was just really impressed. The artwork completely hooked me. Like I was saying, I believe that comics is a visual medium first, and I think that the visuals have to hook the customer or the potential customer first. Otherwise, they're not going to be interested in the story. So it's kind of like the visuals hook them, and then the story that they get kind of is the clean them and fry them. But the art, like I said, the artwork's stunning. I read the synopsis. Story sounds very cool. I was taking a look at your creative team lineup, and you have some really solid creatives working on this. And some of them are now working for Marvel and DC, and some have worked for Marvel and DC in the past, like Corey Hampshire, who I worked with on G.I. Joe 20 years ago, and Kyle Petchak and some other artists. I hadn't heard of Samuel Marquez and Prasad Rao, but their artwork is just killer. It's beautiful. But moreover, it looks really authentic to me. And I think that's what readers are really hungry for, something that's equal to or greater than what Marvel and DC are doing. And your books did that for me. They look authentic. And, I'm not used to that so much in indies, but we're seeing that more and more as more creators do their own things, break away from Marvel and DC and start their own books. It's exciting. It's an exciting time in indie comics. I think you probably have to go back to like the bad girl craze of like the 90s.
Yep.
When the independents were really rocking and rolling. And that's when I broke into the business with Chaos Comics. I was coloring Lady Death, and we were selling like millions of copies of Lady Death, and we were actually outselling Marvel at the time, which was kind of unheard of. But tell me and our viewers about how Project Naosis came together.
Yeah, so Project Naosis came to be, basically I was just thinking of an idea. I was tired of, the same old, it went so many issues, it restarts, it went so many issues, it restarts, or like Batman's dead, Batman's alive, Batman's dead, Batman's alive.
Right.
And I wanted something that was continuous, that kept moving forward. And I had this great idea, which is actually the ending of Project Naosis, and it's this crazy thing that will eventually happen, and I can't spoil it, but I was like, okay, this is a great idea, and I'm going to work backwards. Mm-hmm. So I started from how do we get there? And that's really how Project Naosis came to be. We came up with our first issue, which is Project Naosis episode 0, which we had the main villain, Crimson Pain, take the world head on and drop you right into this world. And it just builds off from there with Project Naosis.
Nice. Tell me about Samuel Marquez, who has a really unique looking style. His layouts and his finishes, I think, are just fantastic. Where did you discover him?
So every single person I discover is through social media.
Mm-hmm.
I found Samuel through social media. I found Corey through social media, all the colorists. I just want to see something that resonates to me that I would want to pick up and read, because that's a big thing too. When I pick up a book, I'm looking at the inside. Like everyone does a good cover, but then what's on the inside? Every single person that does my covers are doing some sort of interiors or have done interiors on my books. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what a reader would want. If I saw a dope cover, I hope the inside's exactly the same, and the colors stay throughout too. Mm-hmm. And so I found Samuel. He was just doing a couple indie books, and we just finished up episode 1, and I loved his art so much. I was like, okay, let's do something completely different. And we did Omega 2090, which is still in the same universe as Project Naosis. It's just the origin story of a couple of our superheroes. And when we completed that book, it's one of our favorites that people pick up at conventions and online. And then right after then, he just took over from episode 2 on, and he's working on episode 4 right now.
Nice. Yeah, I'm the same way as you. It's got to be something. What I like to create is stuff that I would want to see on the rack.
Yes.
Stuff that I would pick up. And it's funny you talk about the covers being strong, but the interiors being weak. I mean, how many times have we picked up books over the years where it's just like the cover completely hooks you and it's just killer, and then you flip it open and it's just like, what is this? So that consistency from cover to page 1 to the end, I think it's just absolutely key.
Like with the point of that, like that's how I felt. And I was like, sometimes like when they're sealed at the comic shop, you're like, oh, what's in there? Like, I hope it's the same shit, and I also feel like on top of the artist being stellar and the colorist being stellar, like everyone that's involved is really happy to be involved.
Yeah.
And they love the story. They love where it's going. Me and Samuel, we text back and forth all day, and he doesn't even want to get a spoiler himself. And that's how like big he is on the book. Like when I told him what's happening in 2 episodes, he's like, why did you tell me this? Like actually really upset, and that's what I want. Like I want everyone involved. I want everyone happy. And I want to just make the best book possible for readers to pick up and readers to enjoy. I'm super grateful that I got posted Eric July, and he gave me funds. He threw $1,000 in there, which was an insane help. But then we did an extra 1,700 on the Indiegogo and another couple hundred on my website. It was a big boost. And what's great about the Indiegogo and my website, the website, we ship your books in 2 to 3 days, and then the Indiegogo, as soon as the money lands, so in 2 weeks, everyone will get their orders. I have the orders upstairs, but the more orders that we get, of course, I'll just print more, and then we'll get the things rolling.
That's just awesome. Yeah, I think you got it. Your creatives have got to have passion for the project, because that comes through, across the page. If your artists aren't passionate, if you're not passionate, passion is it spills over into your creators.
Yeah.
And if they love what they're doing, then that comes across in their work. They give it extra love, and you can see that in their work. And I just think that's fantastic that everybody's so enthusiastic about working on the project, because like I said, the visuals to me are just killer. They're awesome. And that's what hooks me. And that's why I'm going to be picking it up. What are some of your influences growing up reading comics, and did they influence your writing?
Yeah. So the writing, it just came to me. Like I said, I was doing a job that I was in another world doing, and I was just thinking all day, and I just really wanted to make a comic book because I was inspired by a lot of comic books, like as a kid reading, Dark Knight Returns. And then when the new 52 came out, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. I'm like, oh my God, I finally get #1s, and like I could start somewhere. Huge Scott Snyder fan, one of my favorite writers. Huge influence, love Todd McFarlane, huge influence. I still pick up Spawn to this date, like picking up at least 10 out of the 12 months an issue. And that's really what's driving force. But the main thing is, like, when you watch a superhero show or you read a superhero book, it's like, okay, Thor ran and Thor punches you in the face and he's not even bruised, right? I think that's like the craziest thing ever, that they're not like destroyed. So we do fatalities in our book. I'm a huge inspiration from Mortal Kombat. I think those fighting techniques are insane. I love the martial arts. I love UFC. So when they're fighting in this book, they are fighting to kill each other. Like, this is not a PG book. There's spine rips, there's holes blasting, people punch their faces off, because that's what war would be. Like the synopsis of the book, it's in 2090, there was this golden age of superheroes, like your Superman, your Batman, those types of characters. And in one day, a supervillain wipes out all the superheroes and 90 million people with it. So the government unites under one nation and makes a super enhanced team called Project NAOSIS of elite soldiers granted a serum to kill off the supervillains. These guys are not heroes, at least not yet. And, it's going to build off from that stem. So some people would be okay with killing, some people won't. And it's just nonstop. I just want the realism, but still, like, if I had like $1 million budget of like action, like what I would do. Yeah,
that's cool. So they're almost sort of like mercenaries. I mean, they're a team of mercs that are going out to take out the bad guys. I like the idea that at some point in time, some of them become heroes. Maybe they have an arc and their character changes from just being sort of hired guns. But I think that's very cool. Kind of a little bit of ultra violence. I love the fact that some of your influence aren't just comic books. It's MMA, it's video games. That makes perfect sense. So given you're a young guy and I'm a quote unquote middle-aged guy. So it was mostly for me, it's movies, TV, and comics, which influenced me. And then I suppose there's probably some influence from MMA because I do enjoy that stuff.
You'll see it in the book, man. I'll throw some wrestling moves in there. We do some sometimes when I even want to pose out, like I sent Samuel something the other day, I was just posing, like I'll send him a picture of me actually looking how I'd want the image, and just, everyone just lands everything. And it's like, and of course I let the artists, play with it. I learned from my first book, not to overwrite.
Yeah.
I feel like I did that with Corey. I had like a 8,000 word, like 20-page book, like, and then he was just killing it. I was like, all right, let's just roll. Like, let's just keep going. And then I noticed it simpler the better, but then like more qualified when needed, like in a big splash or something like that. But mostly with the covers, I really just, let them rip and they just roll with it. I basically just tell them like 4 panels, 5 panels. Like if I think it needs to be a circle panel or a diagonal, I'll include that. Otherwise, I just let them go because it's not art if you control it too much.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, you're hiring those guys to do their thing and to let loose. And part of that is part of hiring creatives is allowing them to be creative. Yeah. And to just kind of improvise. So I love that from the standpoint of the trust you put in them. I think that's fantastic.
And it's open to discussion. Like me and Samuel were talking the other day. He's like, are you sure like this person would be okay with just like chopping this guy's hands off? Like, and I was just like, yeah, he would. He's like, why could the other character react differently? And I thought about it and I was like, okay, cool, let's do it. Or like I had something just in a building and he's like, no, let's put this outside. Let's get it outside. Let's let people see it. It actually changed the story like in a certain avenue. But, I can't be right all the time. I'd rather be, rich than right. So collaborative.
Yeah. I mean, it's that old adage that Walt Disney had, which was you try and plus things. Yeah. And whether Walt would say, okay, let's plus it, which means this is awesome. This is great, but let's plus it. Let's take it up a notch. Or the artists come in with an idea that maybe he hadn't thought about and say, okay, I think this pluses it. I think that's the way, I think that's the optimum way to work with creatives, especially if you're a writer and a creator. You want their feedback because ultimately it's a team collaboration. And I think that when the creatives have input like that, I love stuff like that. I love when the writers allow me to bring things to the table as a colorist. So I know that it's the same with artists and inkers, where it's kind of like, allowing some leeway and some freedom for them to bring ideas to you. And the fact that you're open to that, I think is awesome because you just end up with a more solid book.
With my colorist too, with Prasad, I honestly give him no notes. Let's just do it. Like black and white page, like he knows what of course the characters are always stay the same colors, like the main characters.
Sure.
But like everything else, like that's just him ripping unless I say nighttime, daytime, or like sometimes I don't put anything and he'll just have the lights dim, certain things going. And that's what I like. And it makes me happy because it's like me opening up the book too, like, whoa, like this is fucking crazy.
Yeah. Tell me about Visual Vibration. And will there be new titles outside of the ones that you already have to come under this publisher?
Yeah. So first we have the Project Naosis. We have Omega 2090. The big thing that I see, because I do a lot of conventions, is, I push for sales. Like I have a sales background. I work in gyms. I was running multiple gyms at one point at once. And at the end of the day, it is a business, especially when you do conventions. Like I'm there to push my product, make sales, and hopefully that I earn the right after for you to buy more books if you enjoy it. And the big thing that I notice at conventions is like you'll go to someone's table, an indie creator, and it'll be like, here's my vampire book, here's my superhero book, here's my sci-fi book, and there's like 1 or 2 issues, and then here's my other book, here's my goth book. It's too much. People need something direct. So for right now, everything is built into Project Naosis. So Omega 2090 is built into Project Naosis. Project Naosis is our main title. We have 2 spin-offs coming this year. One's coming to Kickstarter in about 2 weeks. It should be up this month. All the pages are finished. So with my crowdfunding, the book is complete before we hit launch on this product. I do all the funding. I do all that in-house for Visual Vibration.
Mhm.
And we have it ready down to maybe the letters of 10 pages and just printing. Just so you know that once that money lands, we are hitting print and you're going to have your book in a month. So that's how I like it. You know, I've seen
Mhm.
other places where it takes a year, 2 years, 6 months, and you forget about it. You lose interest. So I make sure everything's done before. Crimson Pain, number one, we have an artist on there who does the lines, the inks, and the colors throughout the whole book. It's Evan G. I don't want to butcher here his last name. And he does some index stuff for us. He does the back covers for all of our books. So I'll show you the back cover. So we have some super cool stuff. It's going to follow our main villain, Crimson Pain. So that's our first number one that we're going to put out. And however it goes, we'll see if we continue. And then we have a issue number one with another team as well. That we're doing. It's going to be either fully Voltage or it's going to be Voltage and Imperium. It's following two new superheroes on a street level. So like Project Naosis is the highest stakes. It's the Avengers. It's the X-Men. And then I wanted to be like, but where's my Daredevil? Where's my Luke Cage? Like, where are these guys? How are they reacting in the world? And that don't want to completely murder and fight people to the death. So I have that. We're going to do a 28-page book. That's also being made right now. We hopefully plan to release that in Q2 or Q3, but it's going to be probably made within the next 2 months, a month. So that's 2 books that we're going to have that are spinning off from Project Naosis. And then, you know, we're building out from there. We're also working on Project Naosis 4, which is being made right now with me, Samuel, and Prasad. And then we have, by the end of the year, we're going to do Omega 2090 book 3.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. You know, Brian Polito's been doing the same thing where the book is done before he launches, or it's 3/4 of the way done. And I know Eric July likes to work that way, where it's basically in the can from the time that they launch. So you know you're going to be getting something within, you know, 2 to 3 days, give or take. And I think that's huge, because the Indiegogo stuff, the crowdfunding, in a lot of ways, it's speculation. You know, it's kind of like, is it going to get done? Is it not?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm going to speculate and I'm going to bet my money on this. But with you guys, it's pre-orders, essentially. The book's done.
Yep.
It's in, you know, it's just waiting, you know, for orders and to be shipped and fulfilled. And I think that's a great way to go about it. And not everybody can, obviously, but I think it's a great recipe for success, and also building trust, getting people back for new issues, because they know it'll be, you know, the same kind of deal where, you know, you place your order and the expectations are met within 2 to 3 days, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, and that would just be how I want it. Like I take it the same way as everything else. Like I make a book that I would love to enjoy, and I pick up comic books every single week. Like I know what I like. I see what gets picked up, and you know, I just want to build something out. And that's what's great about getting, you know, the push from here, the push from Eric.
Yeah,
you know, I've been on other shows as well. Is that these people are ordering, and they're literally going to see a book in under 30 days at their door. Earliest 2 weeks. You know, you order on my website. I had orders last night. I shipped them out the next day.
That's awesome.
It's so you have the book, you love it. I want your feedback. I'm not here to disagree with anyone's criticism. You could love it, you hate it. You know, I want to know who you like, you know, and I run all the social media channels as well. So everything that you message, any email, it all goes through me. It's a small business as small business gets, and, you know, we're trying to blow it up.
That's awesome. How big is Visual Vibration?
Meaning,
how many people?
So packaging, me, writing, me, creator, me, sales, me.
I love it. Yeah.
Everything, storage, everything is me except for the production of the book.
Yeah.
With me and my amazing artists and letterers and production team. Pete Carlson, he's my letterer. He gets everything from start to finish with me. He'll have the layouts with me each page. He gives me good insight too. That's what I'm saying. Like, I listen to everybody. Like, we're working on another book for another company that I got picked up on. And like, Pete was like, hey, do you really think these words should be here? You don't think it should be here? Cool. Like, yes. Like, let's do that. That sounds way better. Like, you know, I'm doing 90 other things. Like, so many things slip through, and it's good to like he doesn't have to do that, you know, like he cares. Like, he does the production, he gets paid to be the production. Like, he gets it ready for print. He sizes that stuff. I can't do Photoshop if my life depends on me. So that's what he does. And it gets him extra work too. And
that's great.
we're super grateful for that. But yeah, it's like I basically do everything. And then when you see me selling, it's me and my wife.
That's awesome.
I'm at the table, my wife's at the table, or it's me at the whole convention 7 days through. I do not take a lunch break. I don't take a drink break. I take a give you all your books break.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw the Forbes hit you guys got, which is nice. And I figured that was your wife standing next to you at your booth.
Yeah.
While you're holding your book. I love the fact that you're not micromanaging people. Like we were talking about, you let your creatives do their thing and also bring ideas and suggestions to the table. I found the lettering is so important. I've produced 6 books on my own, and I've had great letterers, and I listen to them because they really know what they're doing. And it's one of those overlooked pieces of the production line that people really don't understand is really key, man. I mean, it's all about composition and placing those text boxes and word bubbles in places where it's not going to step on the artwork. And that's great that your letterer is like, hey, why don't we do this? And I think that's fantastic.
And we play it out. Like, I'll be like, hey, switch this box over here, or hey, let's do this. Or I write this script too, and that's another thing I do. And sometimes, like, I'll do 4 panels and Samuel put in 7. And I'm like, okay, I got to change this, but I don't say anything. I don't care. Like, like, do your thing. And when the book is done with all the pages and colors, I read the script again. I read the book again. I'll either add stuff or move stuff around, making that placement, because, the book could change, and it'll look better. And sometimes I'll even write, because, the books don't take, I'm not a 20-day guy who get a book done. Like, it's not done. So I have that leniency that, like, in a month after reading the script so many times or seeing the pages, I'll be like, oh no, he should say something even crazier here. He should have this type of thought because this thing happens next. And goes like that.
That's good that you're not precious about stuff like that, because you kind of wall yourself off from suggestions and better ideas. And like we were talking about Walt Disney plussing things, if you're precious about that stuff and you're so strict about it being your way, sometimes, you miss opportunities to improve things and make it even better. So I think that's fantastic.
Like even when we first started off, like, I originally had this other helmet design for Omega, and Corey's like, no, like, this is not gonna, like, do this, like, and he, like, shaved off the sides of what I wanted to do, and I was like, that's way better, like, and like, and he would have looked a little different. He would have had, like, a higher guard, like, on top and things like that. Like, it's really cool to have such a great team. Super grateful.
Well, and great that they're, like I said, they've got passion, they've got enthusiasm, they bring to the project. A lot of artists would just say, whatever, that's what you want, that's what I'll give you. But the fact that they're coming back and saying, hey, what if we do it this way? And it looks cooler, and you're not precious. You're like, yes, let's roll with that.
Like, change it. Let's do it, because if you like that, and now you just made me like that,
right?
Like, they're gonna get the same reception.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at thousands of images on Google Images, and I'm sketching out certain things too for, like, designs. Like, you can't, your brain can only do so much, and then, like, that extra step is, like, the next level thing. So
it reminds me of the Clint Eastwood line, Dirty Harry line in I think it's Magnum Force, where he says, a man's got to know his limitations. You can't do it all, man. And that's partially why you hire great people. You hire killers. It's similar. Chuck Dixon and I, we kind of think of creative teams as mercenaries. You're hiring guys to bust down doors and to go to war with, and you want the best. And those guys that are the best are going to bring the best to your book and elevate it and make it even better. So, and you got to be open to that. You got to allow them to do that.
And to piggyback on the Forbes statement, like, he didn't come to my table. He was that guy was walking by a convention, and I get everybody to come through, like, and I bring them in, I entice them in, and I pitch them the book in 20 seconds. I either hit or I miss. And that's a great thing with these guys too, excluding, like, Corey and Brian that have these huge names. I have, these guys have gotten a lot of work from me selling at these conventions. Like that's the part of working with me. Like, I can, the companies even told me, they said, we're hiring them because you sold this to us and we love their stuff. Or they'll be like, give me their information. I don't take a percentage out of that. I want them to make money and I
Sure.
want them to succeed, and we push hard. So like it's a mutual everywhere. Use your
Yeah.
strengths.
Absolutely. No, we don't want our artists starving. We want them thriving and
Yeah.
kicking major ass, and moving from project to project. Speaking of lettering, I love the homage cover. That Corey and your letterer, I mean, they just nailed it. Yes. It reminds me of what Brian Polito's been doing on some of the Lady Death stuff. He's been doing like 60s, 70s Marvel homage covers, and I just love that stuff. That stuff speaks to me. But it's like right now, I'm not sure whether I'm going to order that one or the other one that you held up before. Hold up that other one. Yeah, that's just killer.
This is I love this cover. The thing about Corey too is Corey does everything not digital, so I get all these lines and inks at my house, and they're so cool to frame up. And but yeah, and the thing too with our homage covers is that we relate it to the story. Like I'm not gonna do a homage cover of Spider Boy 1 or whatever, because nothing relates to Spider Boy 1 here, or or Thor. Like this is the Giant Size X-Men 1.
Yep.
Behind them was the original X-Men. That is the old heroes that are kicked.
Yep.
And then the new heroes coming through. And Corey lands these. He also did another one on Omega 2090 book 2, which was that Rob Liefeld cable cover. We did the New Mutants 87, I'm pretty sure it was.
Yep. I own that.
Yeah. So we have that one. I have them upstairs. And those rip. I actually gave one to Rob Liefeld. And we have a picture on my Instagram too.
Yeah, Rob's great.
Yeah, he's super cool. He's another huge inspiration that I have.
Yeah.
And that one was a killer cover, but it's like the same thing. He's there, and those are his targets. Like it's like I want to do something that relates, and a lot of people are very appreciative of that concept.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what kind of comics are you reading right now?
So I picked up a decent amount, more than my wife would like me. And I'm reading. So I got a couple omnibuses right now that I'm reading. I'm reading the Grant Morrison Batman run that I never read, where it was the debut of Damian. I was just reading that last night. I just picked up the hardcover of Infinite Crisis, the whole series. Never actually read it before, so I'm on issue 3.
Awesome.
Because the thing with me too is like I need to consume everything, good, bad, old. Those are the books that like people like really enjoy. So I want to dive into those. Single issues, I pick up Spawn every single month. $2.99, any book, can't go wrong.
Yep.
Picked up Gunslinger and Scorch. That's another good books. I pick up a lot of random number ones. Like either for Boom or Image, or even Marvel, and I just like see how they play out. Big fan of the Enegron universe that they're doing in Skybound. I thought Void Rivals was great. I picked up I think till issue 4 or 5. Love Transformers, Daniel Warren Johnson. I loved him and Do a Powerbomb in his Wonder Woman book. So I basically just picked that book up for him. I never bought a Transformer book in my life. And I loved it. Same thing, like wrestling references, fighting references. And, I like what they're doing, that they're not making it like kiddish, like, Starscream's like squeezing people, and like, that's up my alley. And so like I pick up a little bit of everything. Definitely the only, I guess I would say the DC stuff, that the new stuff that I picked up was the Batman Beyond the White Knight with Sean Murphy. I thought that was unbelievable. That was my number 1 pick of the year. I met him in Washington last year and picked up the hardcover, and he drew a Batman inside for me. Super cool.
Nice guy.
Yeah.
Very classy.
And his manager too is with him. He's super cool. That's a great thing that I love. Like when I do conventions, like I am there. They'll start at 10. I'm there at 7. I try to meet everybody. I try to pick up stuff. I'm a big art fan of David Nakayama. He does a lot of the Marvel covers. So anything that he puts out 2 covers wise, like I just throw them in my bin. And I met him at New York Comic Con for the first time too, and he's super cool, signed all stuff. Like I told him once he's not as busy, I would love to get him on a cover, because him drawing one of my characters, I'd blow it up like 17 the next day.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that's so cool. What do you think of the current state of the comic book industry? You know, you're obviously going to a local comic book shop to pick up the comics in your bin. How's your retailer doing?
So I've seen all sides of the spectrum, because I go to multiple stores, because I don't do distribution to stores. I'm not with Diamond or anything, but the local stores here that I'm always there, they pick up a lot of my books.
That's awesome.
And I let them, whatever, 50%, they take it. We're not there yet to do that, but some stores do very well. Like I know a store, that sold, 2 stores that sold 1,500 Batman Spawns, like no problem. The 1,500 of those, that's a lot of books, man.
Yeah, it
for
is.
2 stores. You know what I mean? But then I know some stores that tell me, they don't sell DC, or, like and I know one store that only sells, Spider-Man and Batman, like I don't see a lot of people going into grabbing all the new stuff. And when I'm doing a signing at a store, I try to even put people on some of the stuff that I'm reading. But I guess it's a hit or miss. I know people that are successful, and I know people that are like, if 3 people don't pick up their orders, like they're like doomed, so like it's like a hit or miss, but it's like the same thing of like running your business and optimizing. But there's not a lot of ways that they could tell who's going to pick up what book, and if you might over order something and they don't, and then they're not here for this, but they're here for that. Like I saw the big book that everyone was knocking down walls for at all the stores was the Wolverine Predator, that I saw even like not casuals, like coming in like, where's that book? Like I need that book. And I think we do need more of those. Like I definitely think like the Justice League Godzilla book is a really good thing to get people in stores. The Wolverine versus Predator, they got to keep doing outside the box stuff, in my opinion. Like that's what's going to get people in. Or like the big time creators, like they got to get these guys in there, like pumping out good content, because I even picked up some number ones, and I'm not here to shit on anyone, but like it wasn't that good. Like I was just like, shoot, man, like like I wish like it was, because I'll pick up the next 4.
Sure.
But I definitely think it's like it's a weird time. I know it's definitely not as big as it was like right after COVID. Like I know a lot of stores like picked up a lot. I definitely think everything, and I think that's every business. Like I run gyms and stuff. Like I think it's all finally hitting like that plateau of where everything is, and it's just how we raise up or how things crash. So
yeah, I mean, we're talking about comics which are bought with just discretionary income.
Yeah.
And if you're paying more for rent, if you're paying more for milk and groceries and gas, it's gonna eat its way into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they need to start, and it's just the encouraging thing. Like I see some people that are very good with social media. Like you got to like move on with the times. Like I know certain stores too that do like you can order everything online, and they have the pictures of the books, and you click on the book and it goes into your cart, and then you have the order that you can pick up or they ship to you. Like that's like you got to like step up the beat. Like a lot of people don't adjust to that,
right?
And I know there's laws and stuff which I didn't know, because I usually thought like like when you order a pizza like on your phone, like you pay for the pizza, you know what I mean? Right. I didn't know like that they couldn't like take your card and bill you for all these books and then be like, come get them. I didn't know that. Yeah, at least for some stores that's how it is in Jersey. Because that's what I would have done. I would have been like, yo, we got these, you ordered these books online, bam, they hit your debit card,
make the sale. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Or put a hold on it until you come in and get it, like I do with my groceries at Walmart.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of this is it's the old adage of adapt, improvise, and overcome. And I think that's tough, in the retail business. Even when you're good at it, you've got to make a concerted effort at it. And like you said, stay up with the times and take advantage of technology. So many people buy stuff on their phones. I'm a Gen Xer. I buy everything on a desktop. Most of my computer time is spent on a desktop because that's what I grew up with. But you guys, you do so much on your phones and mobile devices and tablets. I think that's probably pretty important when you're trying to reach out to demographics outside of middle-aged guys like me.
like, and Amazon's the biggest thing ever, man. Like, there's times where I just order even graphic novels or omnibuses. Like, I got
Same
that
here.
omnibus,
Yeah.
and sorry to say, I got that omnibus, the Grant Morrison book one for $40. That shit would have been $80 in the store. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and sometimes there's deals, you know, and Amazon does those deals. That's not the stores that are doing those deals because they just want the money. They take the hit. They don't give a shit. They want to boost up sales.
Sure.
And it goes right to your door. And that's like the next thing too. It's like, and it happened at least with me. Like I ordered the book Vanish, right? And I ordered that on Amazon. And then I went to the store and I was like, okay, where's the next issues now? You know, like making that connection. I think social media is like the big thing. Like it's crazy. Like out of all my social media, I think Twitter's my lowest, but Twitter gives me the most sales. Every single person that comments, that likes, that like anyone that says something to me, unless it's like, oh, like some negative ass shit.
Yeah.
I respond to everything.
Yeah.
You know, I'll comment on DC's LinkedIn, which has 2 comments, and they won't even, they'll just like it.
Yeah.
You know, or like, you know, like if they like it, you know what I mean? They wonder why there's no interaction, at least with like, you know, and I feel like that's why Eric gets a lot of sales and these other guys get a lot of sales online, like Shane and all of them, is because they're interacting with their community constantly.
Yeah.
You know, it was never like that for me until like recently, these last 2 cons. Like I had people coming to my desk that ordered books online and was like, sign this, and very weird and super cool. But it's like, awesome. I interact with them. I take a picture of every single one of the people that put up. I put it on my story for the day. And you know, you'll see me doing that, and you'll see the 4 people around me on day 3 doing the same exact thing, you know. But it's like, you got to move on with the thing. People love seeing themselves. Like, dude, if I had like when I was a kid, and like I got a Hulk, and if the guy from Hulk put me on his Instagram, I would have been like, that was the coolest thing ever, you know. And it's just that extra little thing that takes me 3 seconds that could make or break like a connection with somebody, which I want for them. You know, people DM me, what's happening with Omega? Who's this guy, Van? I answer all that shit, man. Like, you know, like you gotta like, you know, interact with your audience constantly. At least that's how it is for me. Yeah. And I feel like that's why I'm happy to get these like extra visions on me right now, that these people will see that and they'll be very appreciative of that.
Well, I mean, that's how you build rapport with people and your audience, and you build, you know, you build a community. The social media is a mixed bag, but I think if you can ignore the crap like you're talking about, you know, just not even give time to the negative stuff, but go after all the positive stuff and the people who are sincere, I think it pays dividends big time.
Yeah, I don't really understand the like, and I only saw it from Twitter. Like I didn't even know that shit existed. Like we hate these people, we like these people, like this guy sucks, this guy's amazing, this is my, I'm like, dude, what is this? Like we're selling comic books, right? Like let's sell comic books and make cool stories. Like I have a problem with no one, you know, I don't need that, you know. I don't let it get in the way. You know, I see certain people, like someone will comment and you can see there's like 4 follower bot and they're just like ramming them. Like, it's like, no, dude. Because that's another thing too. It could deteriorate other people from even wanting to interact with you in a positive way.
True. I don't know. If they see a negative response, maybe they'll be scared or you know, less likely to say something, even if it's legit constructive criticism.
Yeah, because like I could tell like people have certain stigmas. Like when I bring things up to certain people, like even in a comic store, they're like, "Oh yeah, that person." And I'm like, "What do you mean, dude? They make comic books. This is your store, man. You know, like And I think that's so weird, you know. But that's me. I see it everywhere. You know, I'm in a political game too with like my job and businesses. But I want to stay far away from that shit as possible. You know, I'll go on any show. I'll talk to any person. If you have great art, I will hire you. If you have great colors, I'll hire you. Great letter, I'll hire you, you know. And that Facebook too. Facebook did get me a lot of the conventions because I couldn't like, I didn't know like what was where, like where to go. And then like, I didn't know like you had to apply 6 months before, you know. I'm like, why are they not accepting me? It's like 3 weeks before New York Comic Con. I'm like writing a letter to like get me in. But even right now, which is I just learned this for people out there that might be just getting in. It's like I paid for all of my conventions for next year, like last month. Like I'm in New York. I'll be in San Diego, WonderCon, all that stuff. That's already done. But that's like New York's next October, you know, like, and they already like got my payment, which is
Yeah.
cool. I'm happy to be in New York again, like take all my money. But
Yeah, it's the same for us. I mean, when I used to go for pro passes, I'd have to apply like 6 or 7 months in advance,
yeah.
man, because they only give out a finite amount of those things.
Mhm.
And a lot of the times, if you're not early, it doesn't matter who you are, you're shit out of luck. So especially for San Diego and New York and probably Chicago, the big ones.
Yeah, San Diego too. As a small publisher, you got to send the books in. I didn't know you got to do that, but like,
Wow, you got to do that now. Usually, you just had to send in JPEGs, but now you got to send in physical copies.
no more physical copies with a copyright from this year or the year prior.
Okay.
And that's only with small press. But like, I know why they did it, because like when I went, it was 2 years ago when I went, I was like seeing different. It wasn't like I was in small press, but people were selling like shirts, and like one guy had like a children's book. I was like, what is this?
Yeah,
What we're doing? This is Comic-Con,
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I feel like that's why they do it, and they want to make sure like you're relevant enough to like making content. And I do the same thing with all of the people, the same way I was very grateful for Eric. I write every single person in New York Comic-Con emails on how grateful I am for accepting me. And I make sure to keep interaction with them, all positive.
Yeah.
No negative. I am not running the convention. I cannot complain. I see people complain. Where's the trap? Where's this? I do not complain about anything, man. You got to be grateful for what you got. And then you got to make the most of any exposure you get. And, this and San Diego and New York has been crazy for me. So
no, it's that attitude of gratitude. Never go wrong. And with regard to the people that say, nasty stuff with the bots, it's like my mom used to say, and it's what I used to hear from parents in the 80s. If you have from moms in the 80s, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. So a little 80s wisdom.
It's different from a review. Like, you bought my product and you're like, this sucked. Cool. Tell me that. Like, that's cool. But like, for you to hate on somebody for like them giving an opinion or other things, I think that's so weird.
Yeah.
And it just shows maturity level too, that you can just like bash somebody without like even getting in the field. Like, I like the earn the right thing is big for me. Like, I personally had a problem with comic books, and I was like, why is this restart every 3 months? I was like, I'm going to make my own that doesn't restart. And then I'm just going to make those people that feel the same way as me come to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're not alone. I was in on the New 52 on Superman with George Perez, which had a great creative team. The art was beautiful. The story was, and that was kind of the reaction from a lot of the fans. But yeah, I just get tired, even as a creative. I get tired. I remember talking about this the year before, or it was the San Diego Comic-Con before New 52 launched. I went out to lunch with Mark Morales and Tony Daniel, and we were both talking about New 52. And I said, "How is this not like a sales gimmick?" And he's like, "It's not." He's like, "It's not. I wouldn't be comfortable doing it if it was, because I hate that stuff." So it's not just you that doesn't like that constant rebooting. The creatives don't like it either, and the writers hate it probably more than anything because they're put inside this weird box. So it's completely and totally mutual.
Yeah, Tony, super big fan, Detective Comics.
One of the nicest guys in the industry. I mean, just sweet, great family. I love that guy.
Yeah, he followed me too recently too when I got into after the Forbes thing, and I actually got in it twice.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but and I was just doing a convention. That convention wasn't busy at all. Everyone complaining the whole time. But I do really well at conventions. Like, that's like my strong point. But yeah, Tony, super big fan. I was so happy he followed me. Like, literally, when Joker cut off his face, I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hits and a lot of misses, but then when I saw like Rebirth, I was like, what is this, man? And then whatever happened after that with the Watchmen shit, I was just like, I can't do that. I picked up that Batman 900, but like, I do it for the art, I'll buy some of the hardcovers. But it's like hard to like, in my opinion, like just like keep up, because like, I'm just like, there's just too much lore that they canceled and uncanceled that it's like hard to like jump in.
I just don't think that it's necessary. And I think stuff like that are 100% sales gimmicks.
Yeah.
Just to create this small boost, which might last maybe, a quarter at best.
or 3 issues. I think they killed Miss Marvel and she's back in 3 issues. I was like, what is this, dude? I saw it on Twitter, and then like a month later, I saw it on Twitter. She's back, and I'm like, what? I'm like, that's why I didn't get it, because you're not getting me.
Yeah.
But the rule with Project Naosis, that we're at least sticking with the Project Naosis line, all the characters, everything in there. There's no multiverse. There's no do-overs. There's no revives. As of now, there's no gods, but no gods. If I ever did do it, won't be able to revive anyone. And when we kill, I'll make a new character. You know what I mean? If you really like that character so much that I killed, and I would get like, let's say like someone's like, oh my God, I really want this character back. Okay, I'll go 5 years back and I'll show you maybe something that they did 5 years ago before they got killed.
Prequel.
Yeah, prequel.
Yeah.
Build off from that. I'm so cool making characters and just slicing them off. Because I just think that's cool. Like, it just holds value, moves the story. And just
I agree.
Moving it to that next step.
I also think it takes a lot of guts. I think that, it's hard to make tough choices like that and stick with them and have the dominoes fall for the rest of the story and the rest of the characters in the way that they should. This idea of the multiverse, that anything can happen at any time, I just think it's chicken shit. I just think that good writers make tough choices sometimes, and they make hard decisions. And sometimes you go against the good opinions of others. Sometimes you're fans. But it's like you said, it doesn't mean that you can't Batman year one something. And
there's a, like, from episode 0 to episode 1, there's like a 2-year time jump, So like a lot could happen in those 2 years. And that 2 years, part of it is Omega 2090. Like, like I'll leave a little room. So like, if even if I think of something, because like, in my opinion, I didn't think of Omega 2090 like before. Like, technically, I did the Star Wars way. I'm doing like Project Naosis, and then I have the other trilogy, which technically, when someone comes to my table and goes, what book should I get? I give them Omega 2091 to start them off somewhere in that reading order. But you could still pick up any book and like get the sense of where it is. I try writing little synopsises in the beginning too, because I'm very grateful for those. Like, I see them. I think the first one I saw it was maybe one of the Venom books from Donny Cates, and it was like, oh, like, this is what's happening, this is what's going on, here you go. And I'm like, awesome. Like, I could read this book. Like, 10 times out of 10, it's like, you're afraid to pick up that issue 41, or you're afraid to pick up that issue 7 because you're just not sure what's going on. Like, when I release my books, I'm going to make sure, like, for episode 4, which will not be in this trade, it's the one after, I'll make sure you have a paragraph of what you're entering, just in case you just want to pick up episode 4. That's another reason why I didn't start it from my original idea, because if you give so much people so much information at once, it overwhelms them. It could be the best book ever with the best art. You're not going to pick up the next one. Like, that's the thing. Omega 29 is a 4-issue miniseries. The first 2 books take place between episode 0 and 1. And it's a complete story, those 2, that just build off the characters and their lore. And, we're just building it off like that way, because I want to leave that room just like literally, just like if I miss something. What if that'd be cool if I did this, or like, what if we did this? And, just building off that way. Because it just piques my interest. I write so far in advance. Like, I have a lot of books written, and I took off for a couple months, honestly, from writing. And then now I'm diving back in because I feel like I have 20 issues written in Project Naosis. Like, it's hard to like keep adding on when I'm not there, because originally my series was going to be a 6-issue series. That's it, done. Now it's going to be 20 issues, and Omega 2094, and there's other things happening, because I know a lot of things can change, and I'm okay with moving past it and changing things around.
What are you watching on TV and movies that you could recommend?
Recommend. I liked the movie a lot. So I usually don't, like we were just saying, I hate the multiverse crap, but Everything Everywhere at Once was awesome.
Did you like that? Okay.
Yeah, I liked that recently. I thought it was cool. I thought it was very different. Like, I need something that catches me in a different way. TV show right now that I'm watching, Reacher.
Yeah.
I think Reacher is badass.
Yeah.
My wife looks at me sometimes and is like, that's so corny. And he'll be like, time's up, and then like the clock will hit him or something. Like, I think that's so cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I consume everything with superheroes. So I just watch the whole What If every single day. I watch every episode. Like it, hate it, move on. Like, I'm also at that stage too. Like, at least with the movies, like what all we had, or at least me, all I had was like the old Batman movies, and then until Dark Knight came out. You know, like I am grateful for anything that comes out superhero related.
Yeah.
I love the animation style of What if I ever made something animated, I would like it to look like that.
Yeah.
Invincible
Mhm.
on Amazon. Super big fan. I actually got into Invincible from the show, so I'm actually not going to read too far ahead. Like I have the 4 special editions now, but I only read the first one.
Yeah.
Just
That was
because
the same with me, dude. It was the show that got me hooked. I missed it when it was on the rack.
Yeah.
And now that's the beauty of when they adapt these things. Same with Lee Child's, you know, I mean, I've never read Reacher. I've never read one book of Lee Child's work, but now I'm interested.
Yeah, I was super excited. I love the artwork. You know, I was a big Walking Dead fan. Loved Walking Dead. I do go back to certain things, like on New Year's. You know, people are out drinking and partying, and I turned on Revenge of the Sith to start off the year, right, and watch Anakin kill some younglings. But just stuff like that. I love Star Wars. You know, The Mandalorian was my favorite. I consume a lot. Like I need to, and I go back to certain things. Like I was just rewatching the original Avengers movies in order, just to see also for my sake, like what do I like so much about that I can put that in a book.
Yeah.
You know, I do have a lot of action. But like, if you think of Infinity War, what do you take from that? You take Hulk right in the beginning beating up Thanos. You think of the ending of them fighting. You don't really think of, wow, that speech that Miss Marvel had in the 3rd scene was like my shit. You know?
Yeah. Right.
So just stuff like that. So those are my main picks for right now.
Yeah, Reacher. Talk about a throwback. You know, we haven't had a muscle-bound, straight white dude kicking major ass, unabashed hero,
Yeah,
and you get those funny little quips, you know, which
I love it.
Stallone had and Schwarzenegger had, and we just went and saw Die Hard because it's the 35th anniversary.
Okay.
And you know, that is sort of the archetypal 80s action hero.
Love it.
And it's so much fun to have that back. It's refreshing. And I also love that they did not drop everything at once. I love looking forward to this week's episode because like before they started dropping stuff, you know, you think about stuff for like a week, right? You know, you digest it and you think about it and then you anticipate it and you get excited about it. And then you're out there talking to your friends about it and, you know, and doing that guerrilla marketing. You know, Reacher is just that and Terminal List. Again, Jack Carr, never read one of the books, but now I'm interested, you know, because that was awesome. You know, not a huge Chris Pratt fan. I like and respect him. You know, he's not one of those guys that.
So too. Yeah, you didn't. I forgot, but then Chris Pratt, with the that his family was killed. Yeah, I love that. I watch everything, dude.
That was so subversive. I was just like, wow, this is unreal. Like Amazon's doing this. Okay, you know, they're obviously learned something from the failure of things like, you know, Grease 2, Rise of the Pink Ladies. It's like nobody wants to see that. This is what they want to see.
Yeah, so. like real meaning, pushing forward, you know, and like I love the high tense action. Like also Extraction 2 is really good with Chris Hemsworth that I watched. I rewatched that again recently. Why? Just that beginning jail scene was one of the coolest fight scenes like I've seen in years. And that's what's bringing people in. Like, that's why like Invincible is so successful. Like, you know, like people want to see that next level action.
Yeah.
That's what gets me into the chair, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, that's a big one for me too. And there was another one too that I really enjoyed last year too. The Russo brothers made a show.
Right. Citadel.
Love that one.
Was that good? I missed that.
Yeah, so it was 4 or 6 episodes, and it caught me off guard. Like, and that's another thing too. Like, I watch a lot of stuff. Like, and that's kind of like why I like the Everything Everywhere at Once. I couldn't predict the next scene. Like, I don't like when I like know what's gonna happen just because like we write. You know, like here, plot, high, down, you know, like when things shift on me, I'm like, wow, that was probably why I really liked it. And that was the same thing why I liked the Citadel, it was like I thought it was gonna go somewhere, and it was like, oh no, like I'm wrong. Like this is cool. Like I'll take this all day.
I remember seeing previews for it. I like the lead because I recognize him from Game of Thrones. And I don't know why I just missed it. I just did, but the marketing did not. Whatever they were doing as far as showing previews was not reaching me. But I will. I'm going to check it out since you are recommending it.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the definitely up that alley of those last two shows.
Well, they've been talking about that dude because of Citadel as a potential new Bond. So I've seen his name in the running, along with Cavill and Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, I think, and he was really good in Internals. Like he definitely held that movie for me. Like he was definitely one of my favorite parts. He was definitely my favorite character of the whole movie. Yeah. It's strong presence,
He
super
does.
excited, for Deadpool 3, stuff like that. Like people forget that too. It's like Deadpool 1, 900 million or whatever it did.
I know.
Gruesome, next level. But like, I still watch it. I still watch Logan,
Yeah.
Like, it's like, that's the stuff. Like Old Man Logan was one of my favorite books too. Like
same here, man. I loved it. Couldn't wait for the next issue.
Yeah. Very different, high action, like ripping through Hulk. Like, that's the stuff, that I want, in my stuff.
Yeah, that's one thing that Mark does. It never fails. He always just kind of has me gasping sometimes, when I turn the page. And that Hulk scene at the end, I never in a million years saw that coming. So
yeah, so
and,
cool.
and I love the movie too, man. I know, Mangold makes great stuff no matter what. You could probably argue that over the last Indiana Jones, but Ford versus Ferrari, Logan, the guy's a master. Even going back to Copland, which I think is one of those underrated gems. But I loved Logan, and I thought that it pulled enough from Mark's run that it was satisfying from that standpoint to go into that world, but have a different story, obviously.
Yeah, they kept it in that Fox realm, which is good for like those viewers of the Fox realm. Oh my God. But hopefully we will get the day where it's like Red Skull and all that.
I know.
Stuff. But they didn't have the rights to a lot of those characters too,
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Right.
So like they couldn't put Hulk in, or maybe they could have back then, but they couldn't do Red Skull. They couldn't do all these other characters.
Yeah. Hawkeye. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Like that was so cool. And then like a big thing too, like I love the original, Marvel zombies, like, just like crazy high, like that's multiverse, but that's like crazy, like Magneto fighting to save the world and like just gets ripped apart by everyone. Like I love that.
Yeah, that's again, that's stuff that you just do not expect, and takes the reader by surprise. And that's why we love comics. That's why we love visual storytelling. Where can our viewers purchase all of your books? I know you've got an Indiegogo page, but you've also got a website.
So the Indiegogo, you can get all 3 covers of the trade. You'll get it for a discounted rate. You'll save about $10 to $15 getting on the Indiegogo. So if you're looking to save some bucks, you'll get it there. You'll wait a couple of weeks. If you're looking to get everything right now, you go to PROJECTNAOSIS.com. You get everything shipped right to your door. That's with any order. We have single issues. We have Omega 2090, and then we have the trade on there as well. Ships right to your door, and then you'll be email updated on anything new.
Awesome.
And then the next thing, we have that Crimson Pain 1. That's going to be on Kickstarter. And if we release it by January 15th, you'll be receiving your books by the end of February.
Awesome. And what's your turnaround right now again on books if they order off Indiegogo or off your website?
Indiegogo, so I'm learning the system. I say 2 weeks after you order now. So for example, the Indiegogo ended maybe 2 weeks ago, and everyone got their books ready.
So you got an in-demand store set up?
Yeah, the in-demand store is set up. So whenever the money lands and whenever I can switch your name over, so I give everyone, I'll say 2 weeks. 2 weeks it'll be shipped. As soon as that money's in my account, it's going to you. Website, 2 days. I ship that out. Max 2 days. So like unless I'm in another country or in another state, like you order, like I had orders on Saturday and Sunday, I shipped them out on Monday. I had orders on Monday night, I shipped them yesterday morning. And then we're clean for today. So
awesome. Well, sadly we're out of time. Paul, give everyone your social media coordinates so they know where to find you, and also the best way our viewers can support you.
Okay, so Project Naosis is that @ right on there. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. That's the platforms you use the most. Paul Thayer, writer on Instagram as well. It's a new Instagram we put out. Just posting some stuff about me. And, support me 1 like, 1 retweet, 1 post at a time. You get a book, like review it. Like, I don't care if you have 10 followers, 40 followers. I would love to hear your thoughts because you're the consumer. And, I want to know what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong.
Yeah. I love it when people buy the book and post a picture of it online. I will retweet that all day long. I will interact with you. I mean, it's like you were talking about. If you and I were kids picking up Hulk and the artist of Hulk retweeted us, I mean, I'd be over the moon, man. That would absolutely make my year.
Yeah, it was the same thing when I was in New York Comic Con when I was a little kid. I have the pictures of the artists that were nice to me. And gave me stuff. Like, I'm not saying to everyone do this and bring your kids around, but no, I'm just kidding. Do it. I see a little kid walking by. It's like 12, 14. I'm not asking them to pay for anything. I'll give them a bunch of free stuff. You know what I mean? Like, because that moment will stay with them forever. And I'm okay with losing whatever $20 for that kid to go home and be like, this is my favorite thing ever. I can't believe this one person took the time to be nice to me. Because they did that to me. I have the Marvel Zombie stuff upstairs and the Moon Knight stuff. I got all that stuff when I was like 9 years old. They were just like, here's all this stuff. Here's all this stuff. And I'm just like, what? So it stays with you. And I want to make that impact like they made an impact on me.
Yeah. There's nothing like seeing the kids, man. The boys that 9, 10, 11, 12 that are buying comics. I mean, we see ourselves. I mean, that was us, and to connect with those readers is really special. It's awesome. Make sure and like and subscribe to Bounding Into Comics for more videos like this one. Also, let us know in the comments section your thoughts on this video. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next time.